Hello and welcome back to the Dungeons & Dragons Podcast UK. My name is Yasmin and I will be the DM.
Hi, my name's Colin and I play Cuin de Greymont, a paladin from Gavany.
Hi, I'm Spencer. I play Caddo Chasseur, a cleric also from Gavany.
Hi, I'm Brian and I play Ogvar Shawfoot, a ranger from Kessig.
Hi, my name is Samantha and I play Elora Greyvale, a sorcerer from Nephalia. As afternoon gave way to evening and the ugly stench of the underground awaited, Ogvar opted for an olfactory defence as he made a beeline to an apothecary to acquire an appropriate alchemical en route. Elora's debut outing with her newly attuned optical arrangement had afforded her the ability to defy darkness as well as detect the alignments of others around her. A sliding scale of colourful auras from saintly silvers to ruinous reds reveals some very valuable insight for our sassy sorceress. And, with an interesting acquaintance suddenly showing up at the arena, our furtive four felt they may have fallen on their feet. The promise of a much-prized layout of the Axum lot soon lures them back to their Abyssinian accommodations, where Sato somewhat smugly gifts them the goods they seek. Episode 81. Pious Pongs and Crappy Copies.
So, Sato points to the map on the table in front of you. And when you pick it up, there are two sheets of parchment. These sheets of parchment are quite battered. You can see parts which have been slightly burnt. The edges look like they've burnt. They've possibly been pulled out of a fire. And you can see things like coffee rings and coffee stains on them, and the occasional kind of whiff of this kind of green tea scent, possibly from Sato himself, where he's left his own coffee rings on it. And yeah, so the plan's in front of you. You have a 4-storey plan. There is a basement, a first floor, a second floor and a third floor. So there are various parts of the map labelled up. Some of the areas are left blank as if unknown or not labelled. And these bits, actually you can all make me a, check if we got here. You can all make me a gather information check on that, please.
Okay.
18.
18.
13 for Ogvar.
13. Nice.
Oh, that's a strong day. Start to the day. 8.
That's a 22 from Elora.
Okay. Yeah. So, looking at the map itself, you could say that although this paper is quite old and the actual outline of the map itself, the outline of the building is quite old, some of these areas which are written on, some of these labelled rooms, they look newer, they look fresher, they're in a slightly different handwriting, they're in a slightly different kind of font, perhaps a more blocky instead of a cursive font, and they just look generally a bit fresher. And yeah, these are the maps you've got in front of you. On the first floor, where you see where the terrace is, where it says entryway, there are actually stairs up onto it, so that'll be kind of like a paved terrace with a balcony around the edge.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
It's a big old mansion.
Yep.
It's huge.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So that's all.
Bachelor's wing, love that.
Yep. Yeah, so I think the rest of that map makes sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
Unless anybody else has got any other questions.
Yeah.
So third floor's all basically servants' quarters. Looking at it.
The very
Kind of.
top.
The second floor, yeah, right at the very top of the third floor. Then the second floor is the library, a study, guest rooms, the lords and ladies' rooms, and where they keep the kids. The first floor is pretty much what we would consider to be normally a ground floor, with his garden, his reception room, his banqueting hall, etc. And then the basement is basically where all the cooking and storage is done. They keep the horses, and where the guards hang out, by the looks of it. Is anybody else seeing it any different from
Well,
that?
the very top floors is private dining room, upper floor, and astrology tower, isn't it?
Mm. Yes, looks like a lot of empty space up there.
Yeah.
Unused space.
Or
Yeah.
unknown.
Or unknown, yes, good point.
Unknown space, yes.
That's, yeah.
And an astrology tower,
Yay.
which sounds quite exciting. Anyway,
Okay.
so have the people we sent away to get information about the party returned yet?
No, because it's only been about. What time did you send them away?
We haven't had dinner yet.
Have we
have, it's
made
after
a
Oh, we have, sorry, I lied.
Have we made a deal for this map, or have we just been given it?
No, he's
Yeah.
shown his hand with it onto the table, that's all we know
There we
so
go.
far.
Sorry, I've got my thing back. So it's. What time did we say? 5. You went down to 7. 7:30. So you will probably have your Cathars who you sent to get more information about the party. They will probably be returning very shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, so you said they'd take about 4 hours, didn't they? And they said they left at
Yeah, they should be back around 7:30.
about
So they'll be
four-ish?
back. They'll be back very shortly.
yeah, and then the sewer team was 7 hours, weren't
Yeah.
they? So they're going to be another 3 hours after
Yes.
that. Okay, and basically until they're all back, we haven't got enough bodies to send anybody out to do anything else. So if we want to do anything, it's us, unless. So the other things we had on our list of things that we wanted people to do, we've now got maps, so we can give up looking for the architect, can't we? Do we
Yep.
agree?
Yeah, we're fine with that.
There's no point finding the architect anymore, is there? Because he's not going to give us any more than what we've got in front of
Nobody.
us. I mean, that's a lot more detailed than I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, but
We've still got the recce of the house. We've still got the recce of the house to do, and we need that to happen at the same sort of time as the party would happen, so that we've got a feel for movement.
but
Does
that's
that make
tomorrow
sense?
night, isn't it? That's tomorrow.
So that'll be tomorrow night. And then the other thing we wanted Cathars to do is infiltrate the guard, which is probably therefore a tomorrow morning job. Because we're not going to have all the Cathars back until 10 tonight
Yeah.
anyway. So why don't we let them get a night's kip and then send them out
Yeah,
again in
sounds
the
like a
morning?
plan.
Okay, so
Does that sound sensible?
Yep.
Okay, so Sato is sat there, leaning back in the chair, bowl of soup in hand, soup in his, spoon in his mouth, and he's pointed at the parchment on the table in front of you. You've gone and picked it up, and you've seen these maps. What are you doing?
Alora's going to look at Sato quizzically. Probably say to him, okay, so yeah, this looks like what we're looking for. But I have to ask the question, well, I have a couple of questions. First of all, how did you know we were looking for this? And what do you actually know? And secondly, are you giving this freely because it's something that you're interested in personally? Or is there a price attached to this? And if so, what?
Sato takes a spoon out of his mouth, grins at you. I know many things. Some good, some bad. It's interesting. I like to see things happen. As for payment, this is some pretty good soup. And he tilts the bowl up and...
So what you're trying to say is that you've actually got a personal interest in this.
Not so much personal interest, no. It's just interesting.
You know the city lord?
No. I could know him, but I don't know him.
So I'm assuming that you know that what we want the maps for. You seem to know everything else.
Well, it is a fair guess that the church has lost some of its valuable artifacts, and they may be in the possession of a certain individual. Yes?
How did Gerhard tell you that things were missing from the church? Has he
No.
approached you?
No.
Okay. You're not going to tell me, are you?
No.
Okay, well I guess it's yes on all counts. We have a job to do. We've promised to do it. There's some evil work here going on that we need to sort something out. We can't just walk away from it, okay? So if you're willing to give these maps,
As I said, this is pretty good soup.
and you're
And
not
again-
going to tell me where you got them from, are you?
Takes a swallow of the soup.
Laura turns back to the others, raises an eyebrow.
Smiles at you.
Laura turns back, looks back at him again, smiles herself, nods, and then she's going to turn around to look at everybody else and just shrug her shoulders and say, sometimes it's better not to ask.
Well, yes, I suppose we've got them now, and it is something we need, so we can't really turn it down, can we?
I don't think so. Kewin, it would appear, Cato, it would appear that we have the maps that we need, and judging by a cursory look at these, they're extremely detailed.
Well, yes, they look pretty good. Probably, I know they're not probably in the best order, but they are fantastically detailed. Probably quite ancient, Yeah, Sato, is there anything in particular we could get for you? Any particular item, or?
Well, I wouldn't be adverse to another bowl of soup.
Oh,
It's quite delicious. But no, my interest lies in watching things unfold.
well, here you go. Here's another bowl of soup. Thank you, Ruth.
Ruth just teleported him with another bowl of soup or something.
Well,
No, Kewin's probably pushed over his own bowl of soup.
yeah.
You've already had dinner. You had dinner before you went down to the underground to me.
You're
That
right,
was
we
at
did.
5 o'clock.
Okay then, Sato. I'll go and get you some more.
Okay.
Want bread with that?
Of course.
Okay, awesome.
And butter. Okay, so you go down. It's very easy. The remnants of dinner are still bubbling away in the pot over the hearth. You get him another bowl of soup with some bread
And butter.
and butter.
Which is right.
And butter. Yeah. You take a rifle around.
Never hurts to have too much
Where
soup.
he
take a
drags
wife
the
around
cow
the
in, isn't
kitchen.
it?
You take a rifle around the kitchen and eventually come across the butter. And you take a bit of butter up with you as well. So yeah, you give Sato soup. He nods, leans back in his chair, and tucks into the next bowl.
Right, well, it looks like Sato's all right, so we might as well start. We've got to wait for the people to get back from the sewer, and then I don't know. I reckon we should call it a night then, and have a bit of rest and build ourselves up.
I think that's a really good idea,
Well,
Kewin.
what we could do, guys, is we've still got at least one Cathar left here, and actually the youngsters over there that didn't go anywhere because they can't be trusted to go out. But what we could do is perhaps do with some copies of these maps, so that if we send people out to do a recce in the morning, they've got a feel for what rooms are where in the house while they're looking at it, so they've got a feel for what they're looking at. And it'd probably be handy if we had copies, so that if for any reason our plan involves being in more than one team, each team can take a copy of the map. Does
Yeah,
that make
fine.
sense?
Give it to the youngsters. Give them something to do. Bit more interesting than eating hard bread.
Is that all right with you, Sato? Because they are still theoretically your maps.
They are your maps now.
Oh, awesome! Ah.
Oh, and Sato?
So,
Sato,
Yes.
thank you for this.
Good soup.
And Laura's just going to nod and...
so would Colbean, our friendly rogue, be able to copy maps, and/or would the youngsters be able to copy maps? Could we set them to copy maps for the evening?
You are more than welcome to. It will be... The youngsters, I haven't got any stats to them, mainly because they're not involved. They've probably already been sent to bed, in all honesty. But if you want to ask Colbean to copy the maps, he will take as long as it needs to take to copy enough for each of you, one each. So that's 4 copies, I think.
Esther?
How many copies do you want?
Well, we probably need a set for the team that are going to go and do a couple of sets for the team that are going to go and do the recce. As long as they bring those back for us, we want them to annotate the recce map, don't we? With where in the grounds guards are walking, whether or not there's any stationary guards by doors and windows.
I think
and
2
stuff.
copies would probably
So we
do
probably
it.
want to send the recce team. We probably need well, yeah. It depends how many people we're going to send to go and look at the house, I suppose.
I'd say.
Do we want somebody looking northeast, southwest,
Yeah.
so that we've got somebody looking at all angles of the house?
Well, they'd sort that out themselves.
Or do you reckon we'll get away with a little bit
If you send
less?
a team to do it, they will sort that out themselves.
But I'd say we want at least 4 copies.
4 copies.
And because I personally wouldn't want to take the main copy out, because if we lose that, there are none.
You don't want to take the originals, do you? No, you want to leave the originals with Sato when we go.
What do you two think?
I don't know, just pick a number.
So how many copies do you want or need?
I reckon
I'd,
we probably need 4.
4 copies, okay. So you're going to make me an intelligence roll for Colbean to see how well he copies these maps. So D20 plus his intelligence mod.
Oh dear. Am I at what's it for?
Colbean.
Yeah, what?
You're not using your stats, it's using his intelligence, so plus 0.
Oh, that's a whole 7.
Yeah, okay, so with that, Colbean, he's geezer, Colbean. He's like, yeah, boss, sure, I can do that, yeah. Get on that. Right? He's more interested in making things go boom. The copies of the maps you get back, you will receive these back in the morning. He's spent all night doing this. He's not the quickest, he's not the most efficient, but the copies of the maps you get back are roughly, they look to be roughly the same shape, but looking over it, there are a couple of points where you have to just make a couple of corrections on every map where, you know, he's missed a room out, or hasn't drawn in a doorway, or he's drawn over a doorway, so you have to put a little mark saying door on it. And the spelling is, quite frankly, atrocious. It's, you know, everything is spelt wrong. Armory is spelt like arm-we. They are pretty shoddy as far as copies of maps go, but they are legible.
Okay.
Well, that's all we need.
Okay, so as you're talking, your team of Cathars, who you sent out to find some information about the party, returns. They don't all come up to you. They've clearly got together and they've had a bit of discussion and compiled their information, so they're not going to all appear and, you know, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And the information you get brought back is that there will be roughly 75 guests in attendance, but there will be a far higher number of performers, guards, maids, servers in the area. So in total you're probably looking at about 150 people on site. Of course, not all of them will be in the same areas. A lot of them will be, in the basement, underground. They'll be in all sorts of different areas. You obviously know what time and what day. It's 3 days from now on at 6:30. Who's in attendance? You have the information. They bring you back the information. There will be the circus performers. The troupe will be there.
Mm-hmm.
You will have Axum and his wife in attendance. There will be the majority of the 75 guests are various nobles. So you'll have a mix of noble gentlemen, ladies. It's unlikely that there will be any children under the age of 16 in attendance. Very unlikely. But you may have some older children. And you will have maids, butler, servants, the usual members of staff on site. There will also be an increased number of guards, a mixture of Axum's own personal guards and some from the City Watch. And you also have the information brought back that the event will mainly be taking place in the main area of the first floor, so your banquet hall, the parlour, the salon, the music room, reception hall, gallery, billiard room, winter garden, terraces, that kind of area. It will mainly be taking part in the kind of the heart of the hosting area of the mansion. And there will also be events taking place in the back garden. So from the balcony on the first floor there are stairs down into the back garden, and this is where the performers will be performing. And the performance will be happening early on in the evening.
Okay.
So kind of the first kind of event on the schedule really for the evening.
Okay. Performance is the first thing.
Yep.
And it starts at 6:30, we said.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's probably Lars who comes and tells you this quite enthusiastically. He looks a little tired. He's been out on the street getting information. It's not been, an easy job. But he tells you, he lets you know it's a relatively solid information. They've collated it from various different sources. They've verified as much as they can, and they're pretty sure between them that this is what is happening. The number of people. Obviously, there's a bit of variation in place there. There might be a couple extra people. There might not be. But it is somewhere in the region of around 150 people who will be in the house.
That includes the guards, yeah?
Yes, in total. So troop, guards, servants, guests, in total there will be around 150 people.
Okay.
That'd be interesting to get the minis out for that, wouldn't it?
Bosh! Stunning.
Okay. So what would you like to do
I think
at this point?
Alora would like to, now this information has come back and she's not really expecting any further information to come back this evening, she is going to probably go off to the private quarters. Are off the war room, are they? Or
Yeah, so the private quarters, Ruth showed you to them earlier, they are off the war room. They're kind of like a dormitory style room.
yeah.
It's a bit of a guest quarters. It's
Yeah.
for like visiting delegation, you would say, from another church, or from Thraben. This is where they would all stay.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to turn in for a bit. I'm going to go and do my meditation. So I'm just going to slope off to. I'll just pick a room.
It's a dorm style room.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So it's
You just pick a bed.
right.
Pick
Okay.
a bunk.
Pick a bed.
Okay, guys. I'm going off, and I'm just going to go and do my meditation for 4 hours, and I'll probably be up and about after that. So if anybody wants me, that's where they'll find me. Okay. Have a good rest, all of you, and I'll catch up with you later.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Sato, see you later. Will you be here later? Probably not. Well, if you are, you are.
I am everywhere.
Okay.
Okay.
When Sato's there, I would like to go up to Sato. Oh, hello, Sato.
Hello, Ogvar.
I was wondering if you may like to look at something for me. I have a certain item, and you seem to be well versed in obscure items. I was just wondering if you've ever seen anything like it before.
Let's see. And he shoves his legs off the table, drags them off the table, sits back up, chair clunks forward, and he pats the table in front of him. And
How big's the table? Can Ogvar sit across the table from him?
so this is a big table in the war room.
Okay,
so
yeah,
it's this big long
No,
table.
you sit next to him then.
Yeah. Okay.
So you sit next to him, and we'll produce his small green gem.
You hand him the gem. You take it.
Yeah.
He looks at it, rotates it round, inspects it. You see him pull out a kind of little monocle type affair. It's like a little jeweler's tool. It's like a little jeweler's tool. And he examines it. He holds it up to the light. You actually see him at one point take it and actually hold it in the candle flame, burn it a bit.
We'll be careful with it.
Oh, yes, it's fine. It's fine. And he wipes it off, and it's got a little bit of soot on it, and he wipes it off, and there is no change in the gem. It's perfectly fine. And he puts it back down in front of him, and he stares at it. He goes, "This is quite curious.
I know.
It has a magical aura, most certainly. Where did you acquire this
It was a gift.
gift? From anyone in particular?"
A very close friend.
Okay. He considers it and looks at it. He goes, "Well, I would take it off your hands, but I feel that it has some significance here."
Oh yes, it has a great value to myself, but not sure what it is, but
No, well, neither am I.
right.
Well,
It has a magical aura. But what its purpose could be, I am quite curious as to myself.
Okay.
And he gives it back to you.
Thank you very much.
would Kiwi hear this?
If you're in the room, yes.
Right. I'll go. Yeah, well, show in the statue as well. Huh?
Okay, yes.
They're both. You never know. They might be both together. Ha!
Well, I suppose so. So, yes, Cado brought me this not so long ago, and obviously I've got my friend here, Murdoch the Raven, and I think Cado thought it'd be fitting that I have a small raven for my raven. So
yes.
he produced the. Was it gold or was it silver? Because
It's silver.
silver. Okay.
Silver, small, 1.5 inch tall silver raven.
Okay, so he takes it, looks over it quite quickly, and goes, yes. It's a figurine of wondrous power.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yes, when you throw it down and use the command word, it becomes a living creature of a normal size. So this becomes a raven. It will obey and serve you. It cannot speak though. Yes, but this is a silver raven. It will turn to a raven to stay metallic, and it will carry a message to another person.
Oh, that sounds quite useful.
It can only maintain its form for 24 hours a week, but you don't need to, all in one day. It can be broken up. Yes, it's a silver raven.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Sato. It's most useful. Is it has more than one use? Can it be used multiple times?
Yes, as long as it doesn't exceed 24 hours in a week.
Oh, excellent. I shall keep that safe. Thank you very much.
Well, it will carry your message like the animal messenger spell.
Oh, yes. It's very useful. Oh, thank you very much. Your services have been invaluable.
Most welcome.
So Ogvar will put them back into the gem and the silver raven into his pack, and sort of just look at Kewin and like sort of nod to sort of like that's useful. And so in your experience with these rare items, do you know anyone who may be able to help with the previous gem?
Unfortunately, no. I would recommend you keep hold of that. It seems important.
I shall. And if our paths cross again and I figure out what it is, I will be sure to let you know.
Much obliged.
Just thinking of it. You couldn't. I've got this potion here. You wouldn't know what it is, would you? It's the one from Drunel.
Oh,
Do not use
vial of dire situation.
unless it's in dire situation.
Karina or Katrina gave it.
Sato takes it, swirls it around a bit, looks it in the light.
It's a potion.
I can quite honestly say I have never seen a potion of this kind before.
Wondrous power.
I am unsure as to what it will do when consumed.
Okay. Thank you. I just thought I'd ask.
Does anybody else have any items they wish to identify?
I don't know that Alora's not
Laura's
there,
not
but
there.
she's not convinced that he's
Okay.
actually a wizard or anything. She's not convinced of anything.
I'm tempted to take off my shoe and ask him if he knows what it is.
Well, we had
Smelly will probably come back later.
we had those potions, and we were told not to use them in dire. And I just thought, well, if we knew what they were they explosive or what's it? I thought might know.
No, I don't.
If you've got a wealth, of knowledge there, use it.
Okay, so is anyone else doing anything of particular note in the evening, or are you just going to go to bed?
Just going to go to bed.
Yeah, I think just bed.
I'm tempted to wait for the sewer team to come back to see what results we get from them.
Okay.
Because they're due back this evening, aren't they?
Be about 11:30.
10:30.
No, 10:30. Okay, whatever.
Yep. Okay, so you're waiting up, are you?
And if nothing else, somebody's going to have to brief them. Well, if nothing else, somebody's going to have to brief them about whether or not they're required in the morning, aren't they?
Okay, so you wait up until 10:30. You just gonna? What are you doing in that time? Are you doing anything, or are you just gonna sit around and perhaps pray, do some of the bits?
Yeah, I'll have a good look at the maps. I'll have a bit of a pray. I mean, if there's a library, I'll have a nice wander through that. I do enjoy a good library.
Okay. Yep. So you take a wander around. You see Sato occasionally, just in different areas of the building. He just seems to be hanging around. You see him kind of in the soup pot again in the kitchen at one point. And it rocks around. 10:30 rocks around pretty quickly. You're studying these maps. You're reading books in the library. Perhaps they've got some books on architecture and building techniques, things like that. You're trying to read as many resources as you possibly can to give you enough information. And when 10:30 rolls around, you hear what is the back door of the church. So you would have been shown around the church by Ruth, guided round a bit, or just at least told where different areas were. The church does have a back door. It leads out into a closed off courtyard, which has its own well in the back of it. Not one which Ruth gets water from, it's another entrance. And you hear the back door clunk open, and make me a constitution check, please. Just Caddo.
Yeah, I think I said I was going to bed, so I'll go into bed.
Oh, that'll do alright. That's 20 all in.
Okay, 20 on it. Yeah, you are hit with the overwhelming pong of sewer as in walks the sewer team. They don't look so happy. You see a couple of them actually kick off their boots outside and just wang their boots back into the garden, strip off the socks and try and, not leave smelly wet footprints all over Ruth's floors, because they probably know that's quite a dangerous move to make. But yeah.
The poop snoopers.
So they come back in, all 8 of them. They are filthy, streaked with dirt. They smell. They don't look particularly happy. And they see you stood there. And they approach. And they begin to tell you what they've found. So during their exploits in the sewer, several of them were unsuccessful in finding a way through. The tunnels they went down were either blocked off, or they were, infilled. They were unpassable. They didn't lead anywhere. So several of them had attempts which weren't very fruitful. Once they've told you they haven't had any success, they disappear off, most likely to hit the bath, and to take a good long bath, clean themselves up. 4 of them remain, so half of them have had some success. So, let's see. Okay. Gwen is most of the way soaked. Up to her kind of lower ribs, she is drenched through. And you can see her shoulders, arms and face are dry, but the rest of her is absolutely soaked. She tells you she found a route which takes you into, it leads out into the gardens. So it kind of leads out of a water drain into the gardens. There's a small stream running through the gardens, like a decorative stream. And this grate takes that stream away into the sewer system, so it's not going to flood the streets of the city. She's found a way in through there, but it is very, very deep with water, and there is a lot of swimming involved, hence why she is absolutely soaked through. Next in line is Lars. I said he was there earlier. He wasn't. Sorry, that would be someone else. Got my letters mixed around. Lars is a lot drier. He's found a route through which is relatively dry. There's not much in the way of obstruction. He would say it probably leads somewhere under the mansion, but he couldn't quite get there because there was a grate in the way. But as far as he could see, there was only the one grate. Next up is Hal.
Hold on.
Alright, yeah.
Yep.
Who was that, sorry?
That was Lars.
Yeah, no, who's you just said?
Hal.
How's that spelled?
H-A-L-L.
Oh, right, okay, thank you.
Next up is Hal. She tells you that she found a route that led into the inner courtyard of the basement. She roughly kind of poked her head up to see where she was and nipped away fairly quickly because it was a fairly busy area. And where she came out of was a well which is in the central area of the inner courtyard. She is, again, although she smells a bit, she's fairly clean, fairly dry. She is still kind of wet from kind of knee down. She says that the well is, there are kind of walkways along most of the passageway up to this well. However, there is a central waterway. It's quite a wide waterway, quite a big waterway. And she does warn you that while she was going through there, she did get the feeling that she was being watched. She couldn't see anything, but she had the feeling that she was being watched. So she, in the sense that she felt there was something there, but she couldn't see any people. There weren't any, this isn't like, there's going to be people hiding in corners. She couldn't see anyone. She encountered no one, but she had the feeling she was being watched.
Okay, alright.
Okay. And fourth up is Khalid. He tells you, and he is plastered from head to toe in unidentifiable fluids. We can leave it at that.
Covered in poop.
He looks terrible. He is in a horrendous mood, you can tell. and he has actually abandoned most of his clothing outside. He stands in front of you in his underpants.
Is he well built? I'm not there. Shame. Okay, move on.
He stands in front of you in his underpants. He has literally stripped all of his clothes off. They're in a heap on the floor outside. They are, and he absolutely reeks. He reeks something terrible. And he tells you that he managed to find a route up. The route that he found popped him out of the men's toilet.
Huh.
It's, I say popped him out of the men's toilet.
I was going to say, is there male and female in the Axum house then?
Yes, there will be.
Okay.
So actually, having looked at the map, you can say that on the first floor, where it says ladies and where it says men's, those are the two different toilets.
Men's.
So men's by the bachelor's wing, and ladies up past the butler's pantry.
Lord's room.
First floor.
WC.
Oh yeah, thank
All right, yeah. So the men's just in the bed. So the
That's
men's is in the bachelor's wing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where he arrived, he reckons that it's probably where the men's toilet goes. He kind of came into a almost like you could see where the sewage grate was coming out of. Obviously, getting up there and actually getting out of the toilet would be a different matter entirely. But he's pretty sure that's where the men's toilets are, or at least where they run into.
Okay.
And it's a viable route. He managed to pull back some grating and shove some stuff around, so there is actually a viable route there, but it is disgusting. Okay. He turns around, and instead of following the others to where you see him, where you know the bathroom is and the washrooms, he just walks straight outside, and you hear sound of splashing as he upends a bucket of water over himself outside.
Lovely.
Go on, Cadet.
Okay, so is he saying he's come up into the men's toilets on the first floor? Can we therefore assume that there's a pipe that goes through the room that's directly below that in the basement?
Yeah.
Or is that also toilets?
You don't know.
So if he popped up on the first floor, we have to assume there's some sort of pipe where it goes through that room.
Did he say he popped up, or
No,
that
he
could see?
He didn't pop out of the toilet. No.
No.
He
Oh, I had this image of him poking his head out the top
Actually,
of a
so
bowl.
did I, to be fair.
No, he's where he would assume the men's toilet would be. He ended up in like kind of this void where there is a circular grate where obviously
Deferment.
excrement is coming out of. It's obviously some form of where the toilets are emptying out of.
Okay.
Nice.
On the first floor?
Right.
No,
I thought you said,
underneath.
oh, sorry, I thought you said on the first floor.
Yeah. No.
He's come
the
out where
reference
it
was
would
to the toilet
I
on
was
the
trying to
first
reference
floor.
on the map for you.
Okay, right.
The toilet is on the first floor.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got
he
it.
wasn't.
Yeah, but you
there.
probably
But
find
he
the-
actually hasn't found a route to get into the house, just near it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, Kado, you've now got this information. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to thank them all profusely.
Yeah, most of them have already gone. They've already gone.
Am I the only one who's?
Yep.
Am I the only one who stayed up?
Yes. All the others went to bed.
Yeah, I went to bed. Yeah.
Oh, in which case I shall head off to bed and brief the team in the morning then.
Okay.
And Delora will resurface around about 4 hours after she went.
Why?
Why? Because she's just wandering around. She's just going to wander and sit in the war room. She's just going to sit down. Just sit there.
Okay.
She's done her 4 hours meditation. So
So not an elf again.
Yes, correct that. I'll retcon
I did
that. I
wonder.
have gone to bed.
When she was saying earlier, I was like,
Yeah, no, you should have said at that point. No,
Well, I
Laura
wasn't
would have gone
sure.
to bed. You'd have to retcon that one.
okay, so you all have a decent night's sleep. You will heal up any missing hit points, anything which any
excellent.
spell slots you've used are replenished.
What about my 1 point of emotional damage I took
Is it still lingering?
from Big Splinter?
I'd imagine
That
he'll
was
sleep that off, won't he?
It's
Surely.
a couple of
The
days.
embarrassment.
ago,
Yeah. I think I'll get past
Yeah,
that.
okay, you can heal that one up.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
How are you? Because you're right, because you took some damage for that, didn't you? Didn't you have some minus to constitution or something?
Oh, I had it was from the eye. It was for the next 48 hours, wasn't it?
Yes.
So no, I was still under the influence of that, and it's a minus. I forgot what it was. A -2 to. I don't know where my sheets are. -2 to all saving throws, spot checks, and yeah.
I think it's to do anything to do with vision.
Yeah, spot checks, saving
Search
throws,
checks.
So you should be all right
Search,
before we
search
go.
button. Well, I've got another day of that, so.
Okay,
Okey pokey.
so you all wake up in the morning. You probably, you wake up slowly. Caddo, you're probably up first as you're off to do your prayers. And as you wake up, you're all in this one room. There's, 7-8 beds in this room. They're all done up quite nicely. But as you wake up, Caddo, you also notice in the corner, snoring away, is Sato. He's decided to take a kip for the night. He seems to be quite happy, sprawled out on top of the covers. And, the rest of you wake up. Sato probably wakes up not long after. And you're all awake. What are you doing?
Well, I shall update them all on the sewers information. I'm guessing over breakfast,
Okay.
unless anybody wants to do anything before breakfast.
No, that's good, yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So, do you think any of these seem reasonable as a way to enter? Anybody?
Well, it's interesting information. I mean, they've gone to a lot of trouble, I'm sure, to find this information. It's maybe not a job that I wanted, which is probably why we sent them to do it, but they seem to have come back with varying results. I guess the most pleasant way that they found in is probably via the well in the basement courtyard.
Oh, yes, it seems the most.
But it is an open area,
Yes, I believe it was.
or so it would appear on this map. Anyway, it would be quite an open area, and she said she felt like she was being watched.
Well, yes.
Well, yeah, she said it's come up in the inner courtyard, so that's directly under the winter garden, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it's obviously an open area. I mean, yeah.
Yes, and Lars couldn't quite get through, could he? There was a grate in the way. But he did say it was drier.
Yeah.
Not much obstruction, and probably leads under the grate,
Yeah,
but
we-
he couldn't fill it out.
But did he say where that
No.
grate was?
That was just.
Was he able to pinpoint?
No, he didn't say where he'd come up because the grate stopped him from getting under the house, so he doesn't know where that comes
Okay,
up.
all
But he
right,
felt
that's
it was underneath underneath the mansion.
right.
Yeah, somewhere underneath the mansion.
Okay, well that's two positive ones. I mean, obviously, Khalid's found his way to under the house, but obviously that's not the most pleasant route to take, but it is a route. But
He did not look very happy at all, Alora, and boy did he stink.
okay, and
My gut instinct is that that's going to not be a way into the house unless we can somehow find our way through get our shoulders through the holes in a garderobe, which I'm not sure we're going to manage.
okay, and Gwen was soaked to the ribs area, so she had some swimming to do, but she came out in the garden.
The gardens.
Yeah.
So she came out in the gardens. I mean,
So if you come out in the gardens, you've still got to get into the place, haven't you? But at least if you're inside the grounds, you might be able to access a door or window or something.
yeah, I mean it gets you over the wall or under the
Yeah.
wall, so to speak.
Yes,
Maybe.
and anyone who's already in there has obviously come past the guards, so we may not rouse too much suspicion if we look as though we belong.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's just that you're going to look potentially a bit wet, but unless you
Oh, yes, there would be that as well.
unless you took the uniform in some kind of packet dry and then
Or a extra dimensional bag.
well not oh well yeah possibly, or unless you held whatever it was over the top of your head. But you said she was wet up to a rib area.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to remember also that she's a monk, so she doesn't wear any armour. So I suspect myself and Kewin may struggle with swimming unless we're going in naked.
Right.
Better hope there aren't piranhas.
Yeah, and the thing is, getting something back out that way is going to be a bit more tricky. So it's not the obvious way, is it? Really, it's a possibility, but wouldn't be the highest on the list, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, getting things out via the well might be an option, because you can drop things down a well and people might be able to gather them up at the bottom.
Yeah.
So the well might be a way out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a case of putting these in order of suitability, isn't it, for access?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can probably worry about that in a minute once we've got the next set of people off and on tasks to get the rest of the information we want. Because we said we wanted to still do a recce of the house and perhaps infiltrate the guard and get a feel for what the guard rosters were for tonight and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So do we want to send, after the Cathars have had their breakfast, do we want to send them out again for more information?
Well, give them a chance to have a rest and then send them out. If they've been up, if they've had to do a lot of exhaustive work to find that out, they might not be keen to go back out immediately, but yeah, give them a bit of a break.
Well, they've had a night's kit.
I suppose so.
Yeah, but I mean, so the recce we reckon we're doing this evening anyway, don't we? So it's how many people we need to infiltrate the guard, I suppose.
Right, well, if that's the next task you want to set them on, give them the day to do that or something.
Well, yes, I suppose it would take quite a long time to witness a guard rotation.
Yeah, I suppose they ought to go out fairly early and just see what's doing then.
So Yaz, did you give us a difficulty rating for those two tasks, or did you just give us the first two, which were the party information and the?
I got the
No,
house
got
scouting
that.
to take 8 hours, dex of
Correct.
10, dex of 20. Sorry.
Yep, so scouting will take 8 hours, 20 dex requirement, and the barracks infiltration will take 2 hours with a 10 dex requirement.
So infiltrate guards 2 hours 10 dex, and the recce of the house was what?
8 hours, 20 dex.
Say? Well, in which case we could get people to infiltrate the guard this morning, couldn't we? And we could start the recce this afternoon.
Yeah, that's fine. Get them on it. The sooner we find out, the better, I suppose.
So we're going to send Gerlock, Aliyah, Colbin, and Lars to infiltrate the guard.
Right, so you send out a small group of Cathars to go and do that. Okay, so what else are you doing at this point? Because you've sent out some Cathars, you've had your breakfast.
Well,
You want to spend some
yes.
time looking at the maps?
I think Alora would spend some time looking at the map and trying to soak it in, and I think once she'd soaked that information in, she would probably... Right, I'm going to do this bit in character. Yeah, she would take some time to soak the information in on the map to start with. Once she'd done that, I think she would turn to the others and I should say, right. Well, look, while the Cathars are off doing the tasks that we've set them, I've had some time this morning to just have a look at these maps. And I think there's probably enough information on there, provided everything is still in the house as it is on the maps now, more or less. We've got to work on that basis. I think it might be time to go and visit a magic shop or something and see what things that we can get to maybe help us. See what's available. Thoughts, anyone?
No harm in looking, see what's available, I suppose.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I haven't got much idea on this sort of thing, but if people have got an idea, I'm more than happy to help pay.
Well, we can see what they've got available. I mean, things that are...
we can always go back and buy later, can't we?
Yeah, you could do, but it'd be useful to know what they've got available, yeah.
Oh, yes, good idea.
Yeah, so I think probably after studying the map, she would probably look to going into town and hunting down probably hunting down some magic items. Yeah.
Okay, so are you all going to go? You're all going to go together and do this?
I think it's a group activity.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Yeah, we've got a couple of hours,
Yeah.
haven't we, until the infiltration team come back minimum.
Yeah, I think it's
so-
a couple of hours well spent. Or it
Yeah.
will be.
Okay, so for this is probably going to take you 2 hours, probably every time, because you are going to be wandering around different shops. Obviously, you wouldn't just go into one shop and buy everything from there. You'd obviously take a wander around and see what you can get hold of.
Okay.
So, everyone, make me 3 D100 rolls, and then half the result.
Okay.
so roll.
Say half the result.
Yes. So roll D100, then half whatever you get.
Okay.
Okay. 86, 43.
How many times have I got to roll this once?
3 times.
Are we rolling down? Sorry, did you say if it's an odd number rolled?
Half it.
Yeah, if it's,
Roll 100, D100, and then half the answer.
and round down or round up.
Yeah, round down.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to get.
I've got one. Oh, that's 100. That'll be 50.
That's a 42 from Alora. The first one.
99. It's half to...
49. Oh no, or 50.
I've already got 50.
Oh, good.
Re-roll then.
49.
73 would be 35,
36.
36, yeah.
Alora is 6 for her second roll, just a 6.
6 for second roll. We got some numbers.
Oh
from-
my god! Right, I'm just going to put this out there. I have just rolled a 100. I know it's got to be halved, but that does not...
And if only it was useful to us now.
Yeah, but that just doesn't...
We got 2 of them now, so I rolled one as well.
Did you roll one as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dropped. Right,
Bloody hell.
Kieran, have you
That's
got any numbers?
really-
Oh, the
rare.
chances of that.
Right, I rolled all 3 of mine,
Yep.
and the end result is 13, 27, 37.
37. Okay, nice. Kado?
I got 20, 7, and 37.
Oh, you got a 37 as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so going around different item shops, items which you have available to buy. You have a potion of ink black. You have 2 vials of quick flame. You have a scroll of dispel magic, a vial of blade fire, 2 sleeping arrows,
Yay!
I don't recognise any of these.
lock slip grease,
Oh yeah, I put that on.
So did I.
Did you?
scroll of invisibility sphere,
Oh, no.
Oh!
Still
wow.
Lock slip.
Scroll of what?
Invisibility sphere. Oh no, that's cool.
2 stability capsules, an anklet of translocation,
Ooh.
a scroll of ghost sound, and, as the DM's favour, a suspiciously cheap ring of invisibility.
Suspiciously cheap.
Suspiciously cheap ring of invisibility, yes.
Cheap. Brackets.
Cheap. Suspiciously cheap.
Okay? And that's what you have available to buy.
So do we a man walks into a bar and this is what we can get?
So, going around the area, this is what you can get. This is what's available for you to buy.
From different
From
shops.
various shops.
Various different
Yeah.
shops, you know,
Okay.
wherever you want to go, yeah.
Sato supplied the team with a set of detailed drawings that may offer our party a stealthy route, allowing access to Axum's pad undetected. The decision to dispatch a further group of Cathars to investigate was made, and our heroes heaved themselves into their comfy cribs for a restorative rest. Next day, the 5 friends set forth into Selhoff to see what useful and interesting magical items might be affordably acquired. Join us next week in episode 82 as the clock counts down rapidly and time gets tight for the team, the pressure ramps up and plans must be put in place.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Having you as a listener means everything to us. So, whichever streaming service you choose to listen to us with, please give us a like, subscribe and follow. We would love for you to join us on our Facebook or Twitter page, where you can catch up with all of our latest news. While you're waiting for the next episode of Secrets of the Silver City, why not pop over to our website, where you can read all of the information about this campaign, from backstories to setting. All of the links are in the bio of this episode. Join us again next week for the next instalment. Thank you for listening.